once. In the previous video, we just looked at what memory is and what memorization and what remembering are. In this video, I would like to present before you different types of memory or different kinds of memory. On the basis of different criteria, we can divide memory into different types of kinds. The first division is sensory short and long-term memory. Sensory memory is also known as flash memory. Here, we store some items in our cognitive domain only for a few minutes or seconds, just for some purpose. For example, if you have to travel by a bus, you book a ticket and you just enter the bus and you just search for the seat number, and you just go there and sit there. And after the bus journey, if you come back, you may not be able to find your seat. So you are keeping some items in your mind just for a few minutes. And such type of memory is known as flash memory or sensory memory. The second type of memory is short-term memory. And here you are storing some items for a few days or a few weeks. For example, preparation for examination. You learn different theories, principles, essays, paragraphs, short answer questions. But once you write the examination, everything is vanished from your cognitive domain. And this is often happening to most of us. This is happening just because we learn everything mechanically, or we are by hearting something without having any idea on the items. Most of the students forget everything just after attending the examination. Such a type of memory is known as short-term memory, because we keep something in our cognitive domain only for a few days or only for a few weeks. Then comes the long-term memory, and this is the true memory. Here, we are able to store some items in our mind for a long period. For example, you learn some mathematics when you are a school student. And just after completing SSLC examination, you opt humanities for your higher secondary, and after completing the higher secondary, you may be opting BA English. But when you need something from mathematics, if you are able to do that purpose by using mathematics without getting any assistance from others, it shows that you have got a long-term memory. One can have long-term memory, the capacity to store the items in the cognitive domain for a long period, only when he or she learns something meaningfully. So we have to make use of meaningful learning, and we should encourage our students to learn each and everything meaningfully. And for this, the teachers have to make use of dynamic teaching methodologies instead of teaching some items inside the classroom and giving some notes. And that is what is happening nowadays. because each and every person or each authority, each school authority gives much importance to the result. So the teachers will be giving some questions and answers, and the students will be learning all these items mechanically, just by hearting. And they will be able to answer some questions, ready-made questions in the examinations, and once the examination is over, everything is vanished from their mind. They do not have long-term memory. Most of us do not have long-term memory just because we are learning everything in a mechanical manner. So this is sensory or flash memory, then short-term memory and long-term memory. Then comes episodic and semantic memory. Semantic memory is the capacity to store some general knowledge. I mean some principles, facts, then some theories, some aspects of events, places. So the ability to store some general items, some theories, something like that, some knowledge pieces. That is the capacity to store such items. That is semantic memory. Episodic memory is the capacity to store some events in a chronological order. For example, you go for a trip to Delhi. You first go to Agra Fort, then you go to Taj Mahal, then you go to Qutub Minar. And some people will be able to describe the trip experiences or the tour experiences just as they did or just as they experienced. They will be able to present before you the trip in a chronological order, one by one. The first day, the second day, the third day, the first place, the second place, and the fourth place, just like episodes. And such a type of capacity is known as episodic memory. Some people have got some episodic memory. Then comes photographic memory and visual memory. Visual memory is the ability to store the items which one sees. See, when attending classes, some students will not be able to store items if there is only verbal explanation by the teacher. But if the teacher shows some pictures, some diagrams, some graphic representations, such students may be able to store more information in their cognitive domain. And this type of memory is known as visual memory. That is the ability to store information by looking at graphic representations, graphical items, pictures, diagrams, tables, such things. Another type of memory which I have in type here, verbal memory. That means some people have got the capacity to keep or store items in cognitive domain just by listening to the talk given by another person. You see, some students will be able to write the examination just by listening to the classes given by teachers, because they are able to store more items in their cognitive domain just by listening to the words of others. Such type of memory can be called verbal memory. What is photographic memory? Photographic memory is the capacity to store something which we see just as we have seen it. Just like taking photographs. If you see a person who is smiling at you. If you have got photographic memory, in your cognitive domain, whenever you want to recall the event, in your cognitive domain, you will see the person smiles just like he was smiling when you saw him. It can be called a snapshot memory also, because you are just taking a snap by using your mental eye, your cognitive eye. And such type of memory is called photographic memory, the ability to keep the item just as you have seen, a part of visual memory. Then comes rote memory and meaningful memory. Rote memory is mechanical memory. I have told you that when we learn something for examination, we learn mechanically. We store the items mechanically. We store the items in our cognitive domain by hearting. And once we write the examination, everything is vanished, because we are making use of rote memory. Some people have got rote memory, and rote memory is the capacity to store some items by learning something mechanically without understanding the real idea behind the principles, theories, and such things. If you are making use of rote memory or rote memorization, rote memorization is the process of storing something in your cognitive domain mechanically. So if you are making use of rote memorization or rote memory, your memory will be short-term memory. Meaningful memory is the capacity to store some items in our cognitive domain by understanding each and every point related to a particular item which we learn. So here we are storing items in our mind only after getting an idea, a thorough idea about the principles, theories, events, concepts, equations, so and so. So if you are making use of meaningful memorization or meaningful memory, you will be having a long-term memory, and you can recollect the item which you store in your cognitive domain by making use of meaningful memory at any time in your life. And there are two more types of memories: active memory and passive memory. Active memory is the items which you store in your cognitive domain and which can be recollected only when you are making a deliberate attempt. For example, you learn something for your examination, and you go to the examination hall, and when you see a question in the question paper, you just think for a while to recollect it. So you are making a deliberate attempt, effort for recollecting the items. It is purposeful, and such type of memory is known as active memory. Passive memory is the items stored in your cognitive domain which naturally come to your mind during some situations, even when you are not making any deliberate attempt. For example, when you travel by a train, you see a person plays with a small child. Then sometimes the scene in which you played with some small children may come to your mind even when you are not making any deliberate attempt. This passive memory will be useful for you for teaching, because I have experienced this one. When I was teaching drama technique in counseling for the fourth semester students of B.Ed. A drama or a play written by Tawfiqul Hakim came to my mind. Actually, I hadn't used this story when I was teaching drama technique during the first time when I was teaching guidance and counseling paper first time. But next year, I was thinking about teaching drama technique to my students. Then this story, the drama written by Tawfiqul Hakim, titled Uridu an Aqtula, I want to kill, to my mind. Because the theme of that drama was actually drama technique in counseling. So sometimes it may be useful for your teaching, because when we teach something, if some already stored items in our cognitive domain naturally come to your mind as examples for teaching different principles, concepts, theories, and so and so, it will be useful. So passive memory is the item stored in our cognitive domain which naturally comes to our mind when we are speaking something, or we are doing something, or we are teaching something, or when it is needed without any deliberate attempt. So these are different types of or kinds of memory. Thank you.